Hi guys, so my car Porsche today has a very special guest. It's this. You will remember a few weeks ago I interviewed Ivan Kong, who owns an E92 BMW M3. He also owns an E46 M3, which he has kindly lent to me for a day to drive around and experience life with an M car. This car has had some accessories, had some changes. Now, the original E46 M3 has 4 individual tailpipes, but either Ivan or the previous owner has swapped it out for these joint AC Schneider items. If you compare this design with today's M cars, right, this is relatively, simple, relatively understated. There's this carbon wing here that looks like it has been added by Ivan or one of the previous owners. So the most telltale sign that this is not your regular 318i is that the wheel arches are flared out, and these wheels are also not original E46 M3 wheels. I think, if I remember, Ivan told me correctly, he swapped these wheels over from his E92 M3 when he upgraded the wheels of that car. So here it is running 265/30 tires at the rear, and at the front I believe it would be a different size, 235/35, narrower at the front. Okay, so we've got his either him or the previous owner have put in red calipers as well. This is a very famous styling cue. It was pioneered by the E46 M3. Now this is a standard thing in BMW M cars. This went here started a trend even amongst non-M cars that they want to mod and potong the fender to put these vents, but this is where it started. Very understated front as well. If you compare it with the modern day, don't even need to talk about the G80 M3. You talk about even the F80 M3. This is relatively low-key. This looks almost like just a wide body 330i M Sport. That's it. Nothing fancy whatsoever. Now, these headlights, I think they are modified because the original E46 M3, the original E46 for that matter, did not have these ring lights that were the design that was pioneered in the E39. At that time, only the E39 and later the E65 had it. The E46 did not quite yet have it at this time, but I think Ivan or the previous owner managed to find one that gives this car still, a factory look. Now, as you can see, this car is no garage queen. There are scuff marks all over the front bumper, but that is fine, because what it means is that this car has been driven regularly. It is used regularly, like it should be, right? For me, I always believe that cars must be driven. Cars exist. Cars are made to be driven. It's pointless to have a car, to own a car that you don't drive, that you just leave to sit inside the Porsche. You see, like right now, I have this philosophy. If any of my cars cannot hit the 5,000 kilometer per year mark required to trigger me to top up to Evo Club Insurance Pro Mileage Plan 2, I put that car on sale immediately. Let's bring you guys inside the car. We're coming from the passenger side. This is the familiar E46 cabin. That steering wheel design, now of course it didn't come standard as a flat bottom steering wheel, but this steering wheel design is one of the most sought after steering wheels of this generation of BMWs. You compare it with any other steering wheel of this era, right, in the used market, this one all of them I've seen in the market are costing 1,000 plus ringgit for you to get them in good condition. If it's like lousy condition, you're probably looking at still at least easily 700 to 800 ringgit. This is original. This screen is original, amazingly, but well, it's not in the best of shape. You look at it just like that, right? That screen really gives the E46 cabin a proper modern pre-iDrive look. Now the switchgear here, all very familiar items, being an E39 owner. And let's see this. Okay, all right, so the seats are pushed as far forward as possible. Okay, so you lift this and push the seat down. It's not bad at the back. The seat's a bit upright. My hair is touching the roof, but hey, it's a soft top, right? So if let's say you're carrying tall passengers, just drop the roof. And yeah, but amazingly, very, very good thigh support. Fantastic legroom for a two-door coupe. This is fantastic legroom. And you see here, there's this little compartment in here that opens up to an ashtray. What else do we have here? Wow, so this is another lidded compartment. Well, I'm not gonna dig my fingers in too much. Let's see. All right, coming out now. This cabin, okay, in general, this cabin, it looks used, it looks worn, but I can tell you this, touch and feel wise, it feels absolutely solid. It's very business-like, I would say, typical of BMW cabins of this era. Not a lot of flair, but it feels solid. It reminds me of the build of my blue color E39. That was the one that's made in Germany. All right, it's all the buttons all still have very solid tactile feel. In fact, it's more solid than both my E39s. So yeah, I mean, well, you can see it, obviously, the signs of wear. This is a well-used car, no two ways about it. Even though the mileage, just yesterday when I checked, the mileage is still 5 digits, but this car has been well used. It's so obvious that it's been taken care of by the owner. Let me just pop the boot. This is not a very big boot, but it will still fit a couple of cabin-sized suitcases. Okay, now, typically, I don't pop the bonnet in my car reviews, but today I'm going to make an exception. Just marvel at this, guys. The S54 B32, easily the most epic 6-cylinder engine that BMW has ever built. It fits very snugly in the engine bay here, unless you count the E46 M3 GTR. This is the largest engine to be fitted in a BMW E46 chassis. Look at this. Now this is something interesting. So the ABS module is situated here, and it is properly heat shielded from the engine bay. As some of you who may follow my video, coming from my E39, which recently is stuck in the workshop because of an ABS module failure, this is a design that I thoroughly appreciate. This is so thoughtfully executed. Such a beautiful sight. Very simple, no nonsense, but you know, lovely to behold. Okay, so the bonnet is coming down under its own weight. Now let's come and show you guys from this side. So here's the view from the driver's seat. Let me show you the instrument cluster. So this car obviously originated from the UK, all right, with the miles per hour speedometer. And M cars of this era, they had grey face dials, and these M instrument clusters, they cost a bomb. In the used parts market, you compare this M instrument cluster to a regular 3 Series instrument cluster, it's easily 3 or 4 times the price. And unlike your regular BMW instrument cluster, where this would have been a fuel consumption meter, this here shows your oil temperature. But otherwise, it's the same BMW instrument cluster of this era. Very clear, very simple, no nonsense. But of course, let me just show you this. When you start the engine, before the engine is warmed up, it has this dynamic red lines. Even though the red line is 8,000 RPM, you do not hit 6,000 first before the engine is properly warmed up. Now you can see here the mileage of this car, 78,000 kilometers. Now you see the power window switches. This one switch allows you to drop or raise all 4 windows simultaneously. So the rear windows of this 46 coupe here, it can be lowered. So it means that when you are doing drop the top driving, right, you can drop all the windows down, you know, for a complete topless driving experience. First time experiencing the BMW legendary 3.2 liter S54 engine. Oh, apparently there's only like what, less than 3,000 of these things around, so I'm not gonna mess around with it, man. But damn, it feels nice to drive a manual car again. Oh god, you know, honestly, one day if I move to a bigger house with a bigger car Porsche, I will definitely want something with a manual transmission in my Porsche for sure. Maybe it's the rarity of the car, but I do feel a slight sense of intrepidation driving it, and I'm still trying to get used. Oh, listen to that! Listen to that, man! Oh, I need to practice my manual footwork again. It's not like I will mati engine on the way home, but the smoothness of my gear changes isn't quite what it used to be, I have to say. Sometimes, right, driving cars, enjoying a car is not about going fast. The true joy of motoring is to be able to enjoy your car even when you're going slow. Oh my god, the sound of that engine. It's only 3,500 RPMs. Oh, it's so nice to be shifting gears again. And what an engine, man! What a fucking engine! You know, I've always dreamed of transplanting this engine into my E39. Another car just cut it in front of me, but honestly, I don't care, man. I absolutely don't bloody care. Right now, this is evening, 5:45 p.m. LDP. Anybody who says this engine is not suitable for day-to-day driving has not experienced it before, because right now I'm ambling along 2,500 RPMs, 4th gear, 80 kilometers per hour, and it's fine. It's absolutely drivable. Right, just now I went over an expansion joint. It was comfortable. Alright, the suspension pliancy is good. Honestly, I miss doing throttle blipping, doing rev matching in my downshifts. I absolutely miss that. That is one thing I really miss doing after selling my Wajah. Do it, you know, the oh, it's nicer, it's nicer. Practice my shifting again. Oh, the road is open up. I've not even experience with this car. I'm enjoying it plenty enough. Just driving it no differently if this was a 320i. But it's just that it's accompanied by a rather lovely soundtrack. Very, very nice. You know, I didn't tell my wife what I went out for, but I bet she's going to I bet she's gonna be in for a surprise when I reverse into the portrait this way. Oh man, if money really was no object, I'd shoehorn this engine into my E39 tomorrow. Oh my god, that soundtrack. So having driven the car top down yesterday, I'm decided that, you know, today I want to drive it with the roof up. Also because it's quite hot outside now. I have to say, the central appeal of this car really is that lovely engine up front. And don't believe what they say about, you know, this engine is breathless in the lower reaches. You need to rev it in order to enjoy it. Well, I'm pretty sure that yes, you know, when you ring it to 70,000 RPM, this engine is at its best. But well, I'm not in any roads that are suited for that kind of driving conditions. So right now, driving around my neighborhood, day-to-day driving, there is perfectly adequate amount of low-end torque for me to get around. Now, the thing is that, well, with this particular car, Ivan has done a short shifter conversion, and I have to say that this is taking me a bit of getting used to, because the short shifter has that heavy and chunky feel to that. Really, you know, you really need to put your strength, brute force into it to engage every gear. All right, yeah. So I'm still learning my way through this car. Now, I'm really enjoying with this whole process of driving this car right now is that at this point in time, all right, with most other test cars that I get today, right, by now I know all there is to know about the car already. But coming to this, I'm still, you know, second day with this car, I'm still learning my way, feeling my way to it. You know, there's that learning curve with this car for you to experience and to cherish. So, you know, this is not a car that you will get bored of quickly, at least not if you're at my kind of driving skill, right? If you're at Ivan Kong or whatever, or Thomas Yap or Alex Stamrock, or maybe you guys will discover the limits of this car at a much quicker rate. But right now, where I am, I'm just getting started here. Alright, so you see, I'm doing what, 100 kilometers per hour, fourth gear, 3,500 RPM, shifting up. Now I'm on a main road, right? So, right, it feels easy. This car feels easy to drive. I can just, you know, potter it around, you know, and go about my daily business. Of course, a modern day, say 335i, would be a much easier car to master its limits. But you see, the magic with this one here is that in day-to-day driving, it gives you, it's easy enough to live with. But as you push it increasingly harder, you find that, you know, there are more and more layers of talent for this car for you to uncover, to discover together with the car. Right? And you know, typical of a BMW of this era, there's just so much coming through the sensors for you. Now you see, right now I'm deliberately at 1,500 RPM, third gear. You say it has not enough pull? it's going along. It's going along, right? Still more than enough to keep up with day-to-day traffic. And the ride quality, well, it's firm, but I dare say it's more pliant than even the G20 330i. This engine is it's just so nice to drive. It's so nice to drive this. And the thing is that I'm not driving it crazy fast, but it's, you know, I'm still enjoying the experience all the same. When yesterday I drove it with top down, today I drove it with top up. I'm enjoying it just as much. My rev matching honestly is gotten a little rusty, so definitely need to reacquire another manual car into my driveway soon. Oh, you see, right now the road just clear and I step on it. The response, the throttle response is immediate, is direct. I miss doing heel and toe down changes, man. I miss that feeling I get when I get my rev match spot on. That small sense of victory every time you get your rev match correct. I mean, those of you guys who are driving a manual transmission, you know, it's always a very rewarding feeling, you know, when you get your heel and toe, when you get your rev matching right, because it adds that layer of enjoyment, you know, to your daily driving. And this car here is so darty. It's, you know, what sort of inputs that I put in at the steering, the throttle, the brakes, that is exactly what I get from the car in response. You know, just feel that sense of connection with the car. Damn, why don't they make cars like these anymore? Oh my God. See, here's the thing. It's not blinding fast, but it's responsive. It gives you as much as you put in. Amazing, the ride comfort. You know, taking into context that this is an M car, it is absolutely amazing. Amazingly comfortable. Okay, now right now I'm 4th gear, 70 kilometers per hour, stuck behind slow traffic, and this is where the car admittedly feels a bit uncomfortable, because it's like it wants to go faster, but it can't. Now at 4th gear, because of the leverage provided by the gearing, the car wants to go faster. But the thing is that if I were to downshift to 3rd, the car is better able to hold its speed here, but then again I'm having to deal with holding the car at a higher rev. So it's one of those classic manual transmission situations where 3rd gear is too low, 4th gear is too high to maintain that 60 to 70 km per hour speed with somebody slower than you in front. Yeah. So you see right now, I upshift to 4th, and even with the gentlest of throttle settings, I'm having to brake again. Right. So it's like a lot of having to go back and forth between 3rd and 4th gear in these traffic conditions. Oh yes, you know, you see, I think a 335i, all right, will accelerate harder than that, but the soundtrack that this one gives, you know, the immediacy of its response as you plant your foot down and the car just rev up and pull you along, you can't get that in a 335i lah. No way, no way. 4,500 RPMs. I can think of a few cars I've driven in recent times that are faster than this, but not many that gives me the same amount of smiles. This engine is damn nice, damn nice. Really is the BMW inline 6 at its very, very, very best. Nicer. Hiya. The acceleration doesn't punch you in the gut like most modern turbo cars, but the soundtrack that accompanies it, the immediacy of the response, makes you feel really alive driving this. And yes, this car must indeed be driven hard to be fully enjoyed, but rest assured, you can drive it in a sedate fashion and still enjoy it pretty much. And yes, this definitely legit, doable as a daily. Not perfect, but doable.
When I switched to Pro mileage, in my case, I got 46-47% of savings for that car.
Pro mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper, a lot less.
Turn up!